Our next speaker, Bob Orndorff, will be up shortly right after this.
My name is Bob Orndorff. I'm the Senior Director here at Career Services, Penn State, and I've been here at Penn State for 16 years. I also teach classes in the Counselor Ed Department, and I'm going to be presenting on how all students can maximize their time at Penn State and realize career success.
Right. Good afternoon, everybody. I realize I had the same jacket on there as here, a little embarrassing, but let's start with the cheer. Let's wake up a little bit. We are. We can do better than that. We are. Much better. Real quick story before I dive in. We start our Penn State family young on this cheer, don't we? My wife and I were at a baptism not too long ago, and we were there supporting friends. Little Todd was getting baptized into the church. They also have a son, Jimmy, all but 2.5 years old, right? So we said, hey, let us take Jimmy for you so you can concentrate on Todd. So Jimmy was doing his own thing in the pews. We had a little coloring book. We get to the point in the ceremony where the priest asks the congregation, are you willing to take Todd into the church? We all responded, we are. Without missing a beat, Jimmy yells, Penn State! The funniest thing, you had to see it, but he kept coloring, Penn State. The priest couldn't continue. It was hilarious. So we start him young, 2.5 years. He knew that's the answer when you hear we are, right? So anyway, what do I want to talk about today? When you think about Penn State, when outside the Penn State family, when people think of Penn State, they often they can only see what they see. They see football. They see whiteout, right? They see Saquon Barkley doing his thing, okay? So we're football, right? When you think of career services, those are outside the career services family, meaning those that aren't engaged very much in our services. You only can judge on what you see. What you see are these big career fairs at the Bryce Jordan Center. By the way, we have one coming up February 14 at the Bryce Jordan Center, 11 to 4. But at any rate, that's all they see, right? And so we're known as the career fair. We put on these big career fairs. We run this big on-campus recruiting program. Well, the family inside, we all know there's so much more to Penn State than just football. And I'm here to tell you there's so much more to career services than just the big fairs, okay? Because the big fairs, it's not an equal opportunity. So, let me go back one. So what is the on-campus recruiting reality? What's the deal with these fairs? Is this how you get jobs? Well, first of all, it favors large universities. It favors large campuses, right? They come to U Park campus. So it's not equal from a standpoint of the other campuses. They're not coming, these employers aren't coming to the smaller campuses a lot. It favors 3 academic colleges. You can probably guess which ones: business, engineering, and IST. Over 80% of the on-campus recruiting interviews that stem from our career fairs and from our ongoing on-campus interviewing program are with students from those 3 academic colleges. This is a national reality, not unique to Penn State, I just want to point out. But how do most students get a job? Less than 10%, even though this great program, we run one of the best on-campus recruiting programs in the country. I really believe that. And it's a joint effort with our Career Center folks at each of the academic colleges. The folks at the campuses help us put on these big events, and they're run really, really well. But only less than 10% of college seniors get a job from on-campus recruiting. Networking is where it's at, right? It's always been that way. It hasn't changed over the years. Over 70-80% of all jobs and internships are gotten through some form of networking. Power of internships. Think of the internship for an employer. If my job is to hire the best entry-level professionals from the pool of college graduates, right, I would much rather take a look at those college graduates in a 3-month interview during that internship than a 2.5, 3, 4-hour interview, right? How can I tell in 3 or 4 hours how hardworking they are, how well they get along with a wide diversity of employees, right? How they follow through on tasks, how they deal with conflict. These are the things that make a great professional. And it's hard to tell within 1 day interview. But over 3 months, watching them on the internship, they have a lot better sense as to these all-important qualities and skills than they have. Now, 61% of previous interns in college converted to full-time jobs. Okay, this is the highest percentage in 15 years. It's never been more important to consider internships. Many times when students are choosing an internship, they're also choosing their first job, over 61%. And the 61% are, a lot of times, it's higher as far as how many are offered. More like 80% are offered, but 20% of the students decide not to take it. That's why it's down to 61. So it's really, really high. All right, so what does this all mean? It's because it looks like the myth is, hey, we're really here just to serve business engineering and IST students, and mostly here for UPark because that's where all the companies come. That's what some people will see. Most people will see who don't engage with us. The deal is, again, networking, networking, networking. All students at all campuses and across all academic disciplines have equal access to alumni. Alumni come from all of our same majors. They're all over the world doing great things. Alumni and networking, when you think of networking, the best source of networking contacts for college students are alumni, okay? 600,000, over 600,000 Penn State alumni. This is a huge advantage for Penn State University, right? Because if I'm a student who wants to get a job in public relations in Ruralville, Nebraska, it's likely that we have an alum in that Ruralville, Nebraska, in a relevant kind of profession that you can work with and network. That's the beauty of a high-volume alumni base. LionLink is a program that our Alumni Association and Alumni Career Services offers. What a great resource where these are alumni who have already volunteered to serve as a career mentor for you or a career coach, a networking contact. LinkedIn. Boy, when I went to college, we had nothing like this. We would go to the printed alumni directories, find a number, call, and they would say, oh, Joe Smith doesn't work here any longer. This is up-to-date information, over 300,000 to 400,000 Penn Staters on LinkedIn. So they're great resources to do that. We'll help coach you on that as well. So what do we have right now that can help equal the playing field and help all Penn State students? All campuses and World Campus can help students choose a career and an internship. This is one of the ways we make this big Penn State feel smaller is our hour-long career counseling program. We get to know you students, the students get to know us as we're working with them 4 or 5 sessions and doing some good work in between. We help all students develop a career success plan. So now the student has chosen, yeah, I want to do PR. Now what? Well, let's develop that plan where you can maximize this great university and all its resources and develop those all essential skills and qualities and experiences that are going to position you for success come senior year. Okay? We'll help you develop that success plan, if you will. And we'll certainly help you create a robust networking plan. While we say networking is where it's at, sometimes it's pretty overwhelming to think, well, what does that mean? What do I just start calling people? I start calling our alumni. What do I say when I first call them? We will walk you through that process. The other thing we offer, because we know these big fairs are attracting employers that are looking for business engineering and IST primarily. I don't want to scare you off on the next Tuesday's fair because many of our students in the other majors do well. Is just primarily that way. We do have alternative career fairs. On February 22, we have the CARE Fair. So this is more for social services, psychology majors, liberal arts majors, HHD, et cetera, that might not have the monies and the means, they might be nonprofit organizations, to be able to afford coming to a large fair. It costs a lot of money to put on a fair. So that's alternative career fairs. We're having more online fairs for our World Campus students, for our campus students. That equals the playing field. Interviewing and resume help, of course we do that. We want you to avoid those resume bloopers. One of the big resume bloopers that I remember, what was intended was responsible for running an entire Northeast chain of restaurants. What was written was responsible for ruining the entire Northeast chain of restaurants. It was a true blooper. So that I instead of the first N can make a pretty big difference. We had our first student not too long ago put on the resume, instead of Bachelor of Science, Bachelorette of Science. So we want to catch these things, and we get it. The Bachelorette, right? Pretty popular show. We get this, but we're here to really help polish what you bring by way of interviewing, by way of resume writing, etc. Coming soon that we're really excited about to again help even the playing field is we want to diversify our employers. We don't want just the big engineering firms and the big accounting firms and the big corporations hiring tech students. We're going to diversify that. We are in the midst of hiring, it's posted right now, going to be holding interviews soon, an employer engagement manager. After that, we're going to be hiring an employer developer. These folks are charged with going out to all these great alumni that we have in a diversity of industries, okay, and saying, hey, can we develop a recruiting relationship? Would you be willing to champion the efforts for your organization to recruit Penn State students? We know we're going to get a lot of yeses there. It just takes the time to get out there, knock on the doors, and ask the question. So we're pumped about that. The virtual interviewing program, I'd like to call the VIP, give it some pizzazz, but the virtual interviewing program, what are we talking about here? Establishing a more formalized, yes, people are doing Skype interviews as we speak, but we want to really develop that, build it up, and then companies, small or large, doesn't matter what industry, it evens the playing field. They all can as easily interview students by way of video interviewing, right? It takes geography out of the equation. So think of that perfect world. When we have this VIP program up and running, video interviewing program, students that, doesn't matter what campus, the World Campus, UPark here, are going to have simple, equal access to those opportunities and let the employers decide who they want to interview. Isn't that how it should be? We are Penn State. This is where we're heading. Take our show on the road. Finally, we're also going to be hiring very soon, have the funding support from the top down. President Barron, by the way, career success is one of his pillars, and he's really putting some strategic initiative funding behind that. And so we're grateful for his value in career services. We're able to get these kinds of positions. Student engagement manager is going to go out and say, okay, first year seminar coordinator in college XYZ, could we get some career development modules in your first year seminar? We want to take our show on the road. We realize if we just sit back and let students come to us in the Bank of America Career Services Center, we're going to continue to touch a small percentage, unfortunately a minority, of all the students here. We want to take it to the students. We're starting to be out and about. We're in the hub from 5 to 7. We set up our little shop. As you walk down the main staircases, we're right there in a little lounge area. So look for us Tuesday nights. We're setting up shop in the PRCC, Paul Robeson Cultural Center. We want to take our show on the road. Okay? I want to leave you with a quote from Michelangelo. The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it. Guys, I want you to aim high. I want you to maximize your time here at Penn State. Engage in all the great opportunities that Penn State offers. Engage in all the opportunities we at Career Services offer, and it will position yourself for career success. Thank you very much.